everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Vani and I'm from Newfoundland, Canada. Those of you who are coming back to watch me, thanks for coming. And for those of you it's your first time here, I hope you enjoy your time watching what I have to share. So let's dive right in. I have 3 projects, as you all know, that I am focusing on this year, which means that instead of continuously doing my rotation throughout the entire week, on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I have 3 pieces of projects that I want to work on every week so that I make sure that I get my hands on them and get some work done in them, because some of them are have been in my project wheel for a long time. Some of them are new starts, but I'll go through all that now. So my first focus piece that I wanted to pick for this year is Ganesha. It is a Heaven and Earth Designs project, and I managed this last couple of weeks only to get in about, let's see how much, around 540 stitches or so, and that brought me up to 41% complete for the entire project. So here is where this is the last diagonal that I was working on right here. And so we got a little bit more of the arm, the hand, that's getting nice and clear. So there's just a couple of stitches missing there, and then in the bracelet that's coming up. So yeah, the way I'm stitching this is cross country in a diagonal, but as you can tell, I've kind of floated into the next diagonal. That's only because when I got here and I got into these browns, in this existing diagonal, there might have been just like 5 or so stitches, and it seemed a waste of time for me to put it away or finish the thread and then put that bit of floss that's left over back on the bobbin. So I just stitched wherever I could in the vicinity of the existing stitches, just to finish off the thread that I had already on my needle, rather than wasting time putting it back on the bobbin and then having to find it again just to put in a couple of extra stitches. So that's why you'll find in a lot of my projects, I do stick to a kind of set area to stitch on, but I will float outside of it. So I like to color outside the lines a little bit. So that's Ganesha. And here's what it's gonna look like when it's finished. Okay, so maybe there we go. So this is Ganesha. This is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. So as you can see, very colorful and bright, and here is how much 41% looks like. Not bad, eh? So I'm getting close to the end of this line here, so that'll be 2 full rows across the whole project that's done. So that's kind of exciting. So that's Ganesha, and that is done 2/1 full cross on 22 count. Okay. Next up is my second focus piece of the year. This one is by this one is by, if I can get my details properly because my brain's not working, the Cross Stitch Studio. So the Cross Stitch Studio came out with a mystery sow. And as you all know, I have been working feverishly on it to stay on top of it, because I know if I run too far behind, I'm gonna lose interest in it, and I don't want to because it's so much fun. So I believe in the last video, you saw that I was very close to finishing the 2nd page, and I wanted to get it done before the 3rd page came out. The 3rd page came out, of course, on March 1st. So first I'm gonna show you just the first 2 pages that I completed. So of course, that's the first one. And then this is the bottom of the 2 pages total together. And then of course, I started on the 3rd page. So I say 3rd and instead of saying page 3, because page 3 would have been across this way because that's how most pages are counted. But it is the 3rd page that they have given us, but it is actually page 9 in the page sequence. So as you can see, I am back in yellow confetti messiness. So there is so much yellow here, as there was in the first 2 pages, and I got through those, so I have the utmost confidence that I will get through this page as well. But I am finding it a little bit of a struggle, I think, just to get back into the flow of it, because there's so many different shades and colors, and it's all over the place. I know there's a meaning to it, and there's a reason why, because the background looks kind of cute. It works well with this. It makes these colors pop. So I know there's a reason for all those different shades of yellow. I won't complain. I will do them because it's a fun stitch. But it is taking a little bit of time. I'm gonna try and push through. As far as I can tell on the chart, there's all this yellow here, and then this brown continues over here. I think we can all agree that looks about as close to an owl as you can get. And then I think there's something coming up here in the corner from the chart that I can piece out. That's what it looks like, so we shall see. And yeah, so this one is done on 18 count, 2/1 full cross. And I'm super excited to pick it up again and continue on, because I can't wait to get to the more colorful stuff and away from the yellows and the off-whites. And it's just, you can tell that when I'm trying to stitch it, it's just a lot of, you need a lot of focus to kind of, you know, and bright light. Oh, having a bright light is such a necessity, I find, when it comes to stitching, and I wouldn't be able to do anything without my bright lights focusing on my work while I stitch. So that is the second focus piece of the year. The third focus piece that I really wanted to do is, I wanted to make it a focus because I was asked by a friend in the stitching community to stitch it for her, because she's a brand new designer and she wanted this piece to be worked on by multiple different people to see how different stitching techniques worked out, and to actually see how her charting came out. I think she's done a fabulous job. Now, granted, I'm only, you know, in the very small corner of it done, but I think it's turning out great. Her name is Anita, and she has a store on Etsy. It's called One Stipple Two Stitch, and please go check it out. She's got quite a few different ones there. She's dabbling into a little bit of everything, and the artist of the piece of work that she got for her first chart that she gave me was originally created by her son, who is an artist. And so this one, actually, first let me show you what the finished piece is going to look like. It's called Siamese Fighting Fish. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So as you can tell, there's a lot of bright colors and stuff, but there's also a lot of black, and that is where I am right now. I'm kind of into the blackness of it, but I do get to work on a little bit of pops of color, so it's not bad. So this one is being done on 1/1 28 count. I had to go with a higher count fabric because of the enormity of the project. It is quite a large project, so I wanted to be able to eventually, you know, have it finished and not have it be a humongous piece that I wouldn't know what to do with. So this is still very large, even on 28 count, but let's see how much I've got done. So I was able to do, if I check my notes, I actually got quite a bit done this last couple of weeks. I stitched 1,100 stitches on this, and you can see this is where I am. I've kind of got the Q-snap over the top edge, but anyway, you can see how much I've gotten done. So I've got the black done in this diagonal, so up here is filling it in with, I think, one more dark color for some of it, but then I get to use some of these teal colors again in this diagonal. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have that portion done and then move on into the next diagonal. So that's the goal for this one. I am not quite 1% complete. This much makes it so that I have 0.6% of the full chart completed, but I will soldier on. We will get there. So that's why I really wanted to make this one of my focus pieces, not only because Anita asked me kindly to stitch this with her, but because, you know, because she asked me, I wanted to make sure I actually did a decent job with it, because what's the point of stitching something if I only stitch on it once a month or something, and then, you know, it takes forever for me to give my thoughts and views on her charting process and her actual finished product. So I was like, I'm gonna make this a focus piece this year, and then that way I might actually see some work done on it. So I think it's coming out great, so thank you, Anita. And you can follow along with her progress and my progress on Instagram. I post more regularly on Instagram my daily updates, so you can find me at My Stitch Diary on Instagram. But let's move on. So those were the 3 focus pieces of the year, but then throughout the rest of the week, I go through my rotation wheel and stitch whatever gets selected. So the next piece that got selected was Enchanted Garden. This is a very fun piece because it's just, I don't know, it's just really pretty and so much fun to stitch. It is being done on 18 count, 2/1 full cross. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's no longer available for purchase because I got it when I did one of their mystery sales, and this was it, and I actually just got around to doing it now. If you watch some of my older videos, you'll hear the story of how I had already completed it live during the mystery sale that was run with the Heaven and Earth Designs bulletin board, but somehow or somewhere along the way, when I was moving, packing boxes, unpacking boxes years ago, it got lost, misplaced, I don't know, but I loved it so much that I really just wanted to do it again. So I did. So I picked it up this year again. It was one of my new starts for the year. I have 29% done. I managed to get around 400 stitches on this one in the last couple of weeks. And here she is. So her face is really nicely filling out. And while I show you that, I will show you what she's supposed to look like when completed. So this is what she's supposed to look like when she's finished. So not bad. I'm getting there. She's lovely. She's such a lovely stitch. Very fun to stitch on. I can't say more about that one. I really, really enjoy it. So let's see if I can keep these up here without them sliding off. Let's see. Next, I have, actually before I go on to the next one on the list, I'll go to the bigger one on the list. This is World Travel Bookshelf by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, but it is an Amy Stewart piece. And it is a piece with 4 bookshelves of all these different places that you can go to travel. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I decided to do them one shelf at a time. I'm currently working on shelf number 1, and I only managed to get about 500 stitches in when it came up on my rotation wheel. And this is how much I've done. So with that 500 that I added onto it, I have completed 31% of that one shelf that I wanted to do. So that's not bad. So here she is. So this is how much I've got done. You'll see, there we go. No, it's better here. So you'll see, I started with all this stuff. Most of the stitches you'll see here is from when I was working on the previous column. And so this is what I was working on this last couple of weeks. This area right here, and hopefully going down here. It's not too bad. It's a lot more of this sky and colors and clouds and stuff. So I think when we get down a little bit lower, I'll get into more detail, but that's not bad. That's how she looks right there. This is being done on 25 count, 1/1 full cross. As I go through each project, I'm sure you realize that I do everything in full cross. I haven't attempted 10 stitch yet. I don't know. I don't know if I ever will, but I prefer the full crosses, so we're there. So the next 2 projects are 2 projects that have forever been this close to finishing, and I'm still this close to finishing no matter how many stitches I put in there, but I'm really, really close. So let's start with the first one. This one is Heaven and Earth Designs again. And also it was part of a long ago mystery sale that Heaven and Earth put up on their bulletin board that I participated in, and I never got it finished then, but I loved it so much that it got put away in the UFO pile for a while, but then I picked it up last year and I wanted to continue working on it this year because I'm so close to finishing. So here is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. It's called QS Christmas Presents. It's my Santa piece, and here is what it's going to look like when completed. Super fun to stitch, and here's how much I have done now. So all I have left is this little corner. So I think this week I spent a lot of time just filling up these diagonals. That there was a lot of stitches here that needed to be done. And then, so the way I'm doing this one is I am stitching in the cross-country diagonal, but again, because it's such a small area that's left to do, I'll still have a lot of floss left on my needle. So rather than finishing the thread and putting the floss away to be used the next time, I'll just carry it over and finish that color wherever else it is in this project, because it's just the tiny little corner that needs to be done. And I am 91% done on this. So super exciting that I'm almost there, and I really, really, really want to get this finished, because as soon as I can, then I have a chance to finish it, frame it, and put it out next Christmas. How fun would that be? But more importantly, if I finish this, that means I can start something else. That's the rule. You start one project, you're totally allowed to start another one, right? Everyone has that rule, right? So that's my Santa piece, QS Christmas Presents. It is done 2/1 full cross on 22 count. The next piece that I am this close to finishing, and have been for a very long time, is part of the Birthstone series by Rachel Anderson with Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the Peridot piece, which is for August, the green stone. And it is my birthstone, my daughter's birthstone, my husband's birthstone, my sister's birthstone. We have a lot of August babies in our family. All of us are born in August. So here she is. And this is what she's gonna look like when she's finished. So as you can tell, I am very, very close. Okay, so this is what she's gonna look like when she's finished. So just a little bit more of her dress. Her arm is almost done. And let's see, I didn't do this properly with the light shining, did I? Okay, all right. So the arm is almost done. And then I have, so you can see the outline of the rest of her corset top of her dress. So that's just dress. So there's a lot of detail in that dress. See the pattern in there? Actually, it's coming out really nice on the camera. I'm super happy. But all that design detail in her dress is really hard to stitch because it's a lot of confetti. But look at the end result. I love it. So that if that's the end result. So once I get through this confetti, which is slow going, but it's happening, because actually I stitched on her just one day in the last little while, and I got almost 600 stitches in, so that's not bad. And then all of this is sky stuff. So like, you know, there's big blocks of colors. So I'm hoping in the next little while, that means another finish with this one, and then that means I have to start the next birthstone in the series, because I'm gonna do them all. That's the plan. I wanna do all of them. So that is the update on my work in progresses. I hope you enjoyed seeing where I am with them. Some of them are taking a little bit longer than others, but it's not bad. I'm happy with the progress I'm making. And again, stitching is for fun. It's my happy place. I always say that. It's my happy place. So I'm not stitching. Of course, we stitch to finish things, but I really enjoy the process, and I enjoy the journey that it takes me on when I'm stitching, and I love seeing the progress of every little detail that comes up in all the different projects. So it's so much fun. There's one thing I wanted to talk about. It is the month of March, and on social media, there's always different stitching challenges going on, different themes and such going on. But more recently, since last year, I heard about March Madness. And I think it really took off last year with the Steel City Stitchers. They have a Flosstube channel, go check them out. They had also, like myself, heard about this term, March Madness, but no one really knew what it was or what it was for. So they decided to kind of make it their own. And they decided March Madness was going to be a way for them to finish some of their finishes. So they created a bracket type system. For those of you who don't follow sports, I don't really follow sports, but I understand the concept. So you start with so many projects. Let's say you start off with 10, but you pit 2 projects at a time against each other. And then so the number 1 and 2, whichever wins, because you're asking people to vote on which project they want you to stitch on, then that project moves forward to the next level of the bracket, so on and so forth, until you're left with just one project. And the way that some of them are stitching it is that by the time you get from your beginning number of however many projects, the final project that you're left with, you have 1 week or 2 weeks left in March to finish that project and FFO it, which means it's a fully finished object. So it intrigues me. I really, really like this idea of March Madness. It's cool to get, like, you know, kind of to get involved more with the social media of it all, and to kind of communicate and integrate all your stitching friends with the process. And, you know, you don't get to decide, your friends get to decide what you're going to stitch on. But the problem I have is that the whole concept that they came up with, March Madness, was to have a finished project at the end of the month. That's a little bit tricky for me because, as you can see, all of my projects are full coverage pieces. And it takes me ages to finish one, so it's definitely not happening in a March Madness, their method, but it still sounds like such a cool thing to do. So at the moment, I'm just enjoying watching everybody else do March Madness. Next year, if I can figure out a way how to incorporate my full coverage pieces, I don't know. I think I thought about it too late to kind of wrap my head around it. Maybe I could do like page finishes, but that's still a lot, or maybe try to get a certain number of stitches done. I don't know. If anybody has any ideas how a full coverage multi-project person can do March Madness, I'm all ears. Let me know. But I'm having fun just watching other people do their March Madnesses, because a lot of people are working on the smaller type projects and things that they actually have a chance of finishing within March, and not like me. It's not happening, not with these full coverage pieces, but that's okay, because this is what I like to stitch on. I'm here for the full coverage. I hope you are too. Now, finally, I wanted to, now that I have you guys all updated on my cross stitching, last week I told you that I was dabbling into knitting again. I'm a very beginner knitter. I don't do much beyond like scarves and very, very simple things. But there have been a lot of people posting about their journeys and successes in stitching socks. So I thought, what odds, I'll give it a go. So I started, and this was the yarn that I started with. It's just a cute little variegated, you got the purples and the blues and the beige color right here. And so I started, and I also in the process had purchased a 9-inch circular needle online, because I don't want us to knit with double point needles, because I'm not that advanced, and it would just be, yeah, there's no way I'd be able to do that comfortably without a lot of swearing and a lot of mistakes. And yeah, so here is how much I've got done. So this is a cuff down. So you're knitting, oh my God, I keep saying stitching. You are knitting from the top of the cuff down. So here is how much I've got done. So it's not bad. I got quite a bit done. And as you can see, there's a lot more purple. I guess wherever the yarn started, it was blue, and then it transitioned into the purple, and now next it's going to transition into the beige after the purple, and we'll see how we go. So this is my 9-inch needle right here. Ignore the one in the back. So this one is my 9-inch needle that I got in the mail last week. So I was able to transfer the stitches on, because previously I was doing it on a long circular needle, but it was long so that I could do the magic loop method. It was okay. It was doable. But then it came in the mail, so then I started using this. It's a little finicky because it's all very tiny and very small and very, close to each other, but it's working. But now I've gotten to the portion where you have to stitch the heel. Oh my. So I'm taking it very slow because I'm trying to read the instructions, and yeah. So, but not bad. I mean, I've gotten this much done. Now, once the heel is done, and then you have to connect it, and then the next hard part, I think, after the heel portion, for me, is going to be the toe, because then you have to use the double point needles, because no matter how tiny circular needles you get, you can't do the toes that small. So I will tackle that challenge when it comes, but I'm so much more slower with the knitting than I am the cross stitching, because this is just if I have like just a few minutes, I can sit and grab this and do a row or two, whereas any free time that happens that I actually can sit down for a half an hour or so, it goes to my cross stitching, because that is my #1 passion. This is just for fun. We'll see what happens. I think my only concern with this, of course, beyond the heel and the toe, is that this started off as blue, and then it's going to go to purple, and then it's going to go to beige, but then the matching sock, I have no idea what color it's going to, and at first I was like, oh, it's going to be really weird trying to figure out how to start it off with just this much blue on top before it goes to purple, because I think obviously there must be more blue. I'm assuming that each color will give you an equal amount in the sock, but if I only had this much of blue at the top, and I was just stressing myself out. I was like, whatever, who's gonna look at my feet? Most of the time they're in shoes anyway when you're outside, and when you're home, who cares? As long as they're comfy, and look, I made them, so I don't care. We'll see what happens with the second sock. I have to actually finish this one first, so we'll see what happens. But thank you so much for joining me and watching me give you an update on my works in progress. It is always, as always, so much fun to share with you all my projects and the fun I have stitching them. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. And remember to check out my Instagram at MyStitchDiary. You can, I give more daily updates, daily or every other day. I try to do it a lot more often than my bi-weekly update here on Flosstube. But it has been such a joy today to share with you everything. It's been fun. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye now.